Ding ding. Hey guys.
Ding.
Hey guys.
Ding.
Oh
The
my
most
gosh.
loaded ding ding we've heard yet. 2-hour episode.
2 hours. We have quite the episode. Bring your mic a little closer, honey.
Hello.
There we go.
All I have to say is when you have technical difficulties, it just puts me in the chat on the YouTube page. I'm just talking to people, so
making friends.
I almost like forgot that we were doing a live video.
I love it.
Well, welcome everybody to those of you who aren't joining us live. We had a little late start because of some technical difficulties on the computers.
My fault.
It is what it is, but we're up and going. Hello to everybody. Welcome everyone. Last night was crazy. We had a mega 2-hour episode. Everything changed. The game's going crazy. We've got new tribes within tribes forming, and new relationships and new friendships, and
time travel.
And time travel on top of all of that.
Right?
Yeah. We have so much to I mean, I kind of feel like we should just kind of launch into it, and I know we're going to hit some little speed bumps along the way where we're going to talk about some stuff, but overall, good episode. What would you guys rate this episode? 1 to 10?
Oh, it was amazing. It's Survivor at its best.
Yeah.
The twists, the turns.
And long episodes are just my love language of Survivor, so the more the better. It got like 5 extra points. It's like an 11 for me.
Yes. It was solid.
I also should apologize in advance for my voice. I've been traveling and partying, and
I was gonna
there's a little bit of gravel.
I was gonna give you like
I'm
a 7.
Healthy.
Okay.
And speaking of traveling, Bailey, everybody who needs a Bailey update, she's officially off the market, boys. So sorry, she got hitched. She posted some photos to some friends, and she looked amazing. The wedding looked amazing. She was grinning from ear to ear. She was having the best time. You could tell. She's on her honeymoon right now. So we're gonna have her call in. No,
the groom showed up.
Next week she'll show us slides from her honeymoon.
Yeah, and I think maybe we'll get her to because next episode she should be back in on here. So when she is, we'll ask her for some photos and we'll load them up so we could share them. And then also, here's her ring bearer. So here he is. And that's what here's where he carried the ring.
Oh, Natalie. Natalie gets the best seat tonight. Don't look.
All right, I'm turning that off. So big episode. Where
big episode. Let's try recapping. There's still like a lot of clutter to advantages in my mind. So
I think there was clutter in everyone's mind because they started the show off by reminding us.
Yeah.
They're like, hey.
Yeah. Hey, right. Okay. So
here's the sitch.
The amulet trio. Right.
Which makes more sense now.
Right. Yeah.
And we got a little bit of a little discussion about that later. Thank you, Survivor, for being like, hey, remember that thing at the very beginning that just was kind of like a throwaway?
At the very beginning.
Now this is why it makes sense.
Now it's relevant.
Yeah, this is why everyone was covered in pig blood.
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay, hi.
And the amulet, it actually wasn't active until the merge, correct? This is when it became live? Or was it active? It was my understanding that it wasn't actually active.
Yeah, it provided clarity, and then I'm still confused.
I know.
Okay,
but if people got voted out,
regardless.
if people got voted out, well, but the 2 that were remaining, if one got voted out, 2 remaining would become stronger, and then if the third person or the second person was voted out, then the third one would become stronger. So
whatever
it
arrived
together. I
was gonna say whatever it arrived to the merge with. It had that power active, the 3, 2, 1. And then going forward, unless someone uses, the amulets will now as people leave, the power changes. So,
Right.
yeah, so that's pretty interesting. What else did they have that they recapped for us?
The quote.
Well, Aaron just brought something up. It is impressive that they've kept it a secret until the merge, right? Because I'm pretty sure no one really talked about it. I guess maybe that's why we were so lost, but it's, I think, quite impressive. So
yeah, good on them. Good on them.
So there's those three people, and then, which we talked about at the end of the last one,
Right.
and then there is an extra vote that we know about, and then there's 3 hidden immunity idols.
Yes.
Although not so hidden.
They're
Each
all
one of them
now
kind of blabbed it to their tribe. So
Not Marianne, right? She's not.
her whole tribe knows. Her whole tribe knows.
Oh, that's right. That's all they talk about. That's why they didn't want to. Right.
I don't think she could keep a secret if she was paid $1 million.
No.
Which
We'll
happens
find
to be the
out.
prize of this show.
Right.
Is a secret.
Maybe I'll eat
worth
my words. I hope
everything.
not.
Oh no,
Yeah, the
she's
prize
still
is
hanging
a
in there.
secret.
My girl Marianne, my first choice. She's holding on strong.
Yeah. You're a workhorse.
Yeah. Killing it.
Yeah, so they kind of gave us the recap there. And then they immediately threw us back at camp. Now, I will say I was super excited to go back to camp with Vati tribe. And I'm going to pull this up because this is one of the last times we're going to get to use some of these graphics that Greg slaved over. So here is our current Vati tribe at the beginning of the show. They took us back there, and remember, someone threw a mic vote out there, and it turned out to be Chanel. And I was very excited to get to this episode because they always talk about the tribal council, and I was like, okay, why did she throw it out there? I don't know about you guys, but I thought her answer was super unsatisfactory. She did not make sense in the And I don't understand what she thought she was doing if she was the only one that threw a vote on him. That doesn't help her in any way.
Yeah.
It was a very
all that matters is that Mike saw through it and even made a quote that was along the lines of like, I would take a bullet for anyone except for Chanel. I would step aside. But Lydia and he's like all in. The dude will trust anyone that trusts him. He's a relationship-based guy. And in this case, she lost trust with Mike. And I don't think that's a good thing for her.
Which was also kind of interesting because Mike did vote for her. So it's kind of like.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was ready to get rid of her. You're right.
Yeah.
But he was voting with a group.
Yeah.
Her action was still weird. It wasn't attached.
It definitely was. But him being super upset about Chanel voting for him, he didn't really have a right to be since he was voting for her in a way.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I've got
I don't know.
Child calling. 1 second.
This is where we have to deal with baby sometimes. So yeah, the thing that got me with it was I do think he has a right to be pissed because it's different if 3 votes came at Mike and it was like, okay, that was a play you guys were trying to make. You didn't get me, but you guys were. It was a power move.
Right.
You guys were
well played, but no. Yeah.
Yeah. Close, but no cigar. But when
it was more of like a side shot, like this erroneous.
Half is voting for this person, half's voting for this, and then your dumb little donkey vote comes in, and it's like, what was that trying to do? Like
exactly. We don't need that.
Yeah. Take this and just get rid of it.
Just like get rid of.
Do you know what this is? Do you know what this is?
A donkey vote?
No, I don't know, but here comes a whole bunch of them. Okay. Stupid.
Thanks for the visual.
Yeah.
So then then we go from Vati, which I think was a little short, to be honest. I was hoping for like a little bit more in depth, like break it out for me. I felt like it was just like
I think it's because they gave the editors nothing. I think they wanted to hear Chanel talk about this and them have it out, but she was kind of like, I thought I just and it was like, okay, well then I guess we got nothing.
That's true.
Let's go to the next trial. So
yeah. So then they go over to, is it Tori? Yeah, Tori and Ika tribe. And she's talking about how she's skeptical of Roxroy because he won't give any info. And that leads to a story down the road, I think, that kind of highlights their relationship and why a decision made later was relevant, because they're kind of sharing some backstory there, which I think was useful.
I thought it was really funny to see, it opens up with Tori just harassing Roxroy, trying to find out what happened when he went for his walk, last episode. And she was relentless. Like, well, what? Oh. Well, tell me. Well, what? But and it's like, read the room, anything. Baby. You're annoying. Yeah. No one's like this. And it was funny because we saw Romeo and Lydia like spying and listening in. Like and they were both like, like, stop it. And Romeo even said something to the effect of like, Tori's annoying and she always has to try to blow things up. And
yeah. And then he said, and then Drea was like, damn, she's persistent.
Yeah.
The quote that got me though was that Roxroy was like, I'm predictable. Tori is not. And I think that's true. I think he's very predictable. Although he might be annoying, he might be like the workaholic dad that just won't put it down and like keeps going. You at least know what you're getting from Roxroy. Yeah. Tori, from the beginning, I've said it, she is a wild card, and that's dangerous in this game if you're trying to play with someone.
And Romeo said, another quote was, she has no alliance to anyone. Like he said that when he was talking about her. And so if that's what people are thinking about you on your own tribe, when a merge about to happen, then you're in the worst position.
And I think she knew it because you see that she's playing the free agent card down the road.
Yeah.
But let's get to the meat of the episode. Okay.
Yes.
We go to what we think is going to be just a nice little transition into either a reward challenge or maybe the immunity challenge. And instead, Jeff asks everyone to drop their buffs, which is one of my favorite lines. If I had a buff right now, I'd be dropping it. I don't know about the two of you.
Well, right before that, though, let's not skip over this exciting moment. They're headed down, and Jeff's talking to the camera hurriedly. Like,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Greg, when he breaks the fourth wall.
Yes.
Yeah. I even wrote about it. I love it.
Yeah, let's not skip this. So he talks to the camera, and he's like, okay, they're coming. Like he sees them coming off the distance, and he quickly tells us, and this is where I want you to explain a little, because Natalie and I didn't watch last season, and he says it, he delivered info, but he delivered it as like, okay, so you guys know, because we've been watching, and we're like, oh, we haven't been watching. But he did say, he did say, which I thought was cool. He's like, we filmed 41 and 42 back to back, which means 41 hasn't aired, which means I have a whole tribe of people who hasn't seen this new little sneaky trick we pulled.
Exactly.
And we're going to pull it again, but we're going to do a little different twist to see if we can make the outcome come out a little differently by offering slightly different incentives.
Right.
But that's kind of what he said. And Natalie and I were kind of like, so what's the twist? We didn't really get it. So what is it, Greg? Lay out to us what the opportunity is.
So the person that got the twist last season is the one that won. And she took the opportunity once. So, okay, first of all, splits the tribes up, which we'll get to in a second. Well, everyone drops their buff, draws rocks. 5 go to one team, 5 go to another team. There's 12 people total, so that leaves 2. One of them is going to be kind of incorporated into the winning team, right? And then the other one is going to be sent on this remote journey to figure themselves out for 2 days.
And this was what they did on season 41?
Exactly.
Okay.
The difference was, and I should know her name. Someone please tell me. But she gets put on that island, and she's just like, Erica. She's alone. She's like kind of sad about it. She felt, I think, a little bit defeated, and it was like a really good growing moment for her. In this case, which we can get to, it was a little bit different, which was fun to see. But pretty much the same situation. You have this option coming up ahead that's going to provide you with immense power. Figure out the best way to use it. So then, like, literally, you see in the back of his shot, the tribe just like, their tribe's coming down the hill, ready to go.
Ready to go.
And that's where he utters your favorite line, Greg.
Drop your buffs. And then what do they say? They don't say, "Yay, the merge." They go, "Is this the merge?"
Yes,
Because at this
yes.
point on Survivor, you never
Mhm.
know. You
Yeah.
never, ever know. And it kind of was the merge. But I think it's the same as last season where they had to earn their spots.
Yeah.
It all played out the same as I remember it from last season. So I'm pretty sure that's kind of the exact same thing.
And
Yeah.
basically, too many people come down that hill and arrive for a merge at this point. There's too many people for a merge. And so
Right.
this is merge adjacent. We're going to get a merge out of this. But first, we're going to have
Yes.
some fun with you guys.
Yeah. That's
And
challenge.
so that's where, yeah, they actually, now they tell us we're going to do a challenge just like we always do. And we're going to have 2 teams. But like
And
you
a
said,
big
Greg,
prize.
yeah, a big prize, which we'll get, we'll get to because I think the prize is funny. But yeah, to
So do
get these 2 teams so here's who came down the mountain. Sorry, Natalie.
Yep.
Coming down the mountain. Coming down the mountain.
It's like their arms. It's Omar and Mike.
Okay. Anyway.
So this is who we have come down the mountain. And then they draw rocks, which drawing rocks in Survivor always means something bad, right? Or potentially.
Yes. And what did he say? Oh my gosh. Earn your way in the tribe. I wrote it down because you talk a lot to draw rocks with every hand that goes in this bag, the game is changing. What is it? The game is changing.
I wrote down, with every hand that goes in this bag, the game is changing. That's literally
and that I think speaks to the luck that you like hate about this, that like really gets your donkey to bring that donkey back. I like that. I like that, like, everyone has these plans, and you see it later in the episode. Let's go make plans. We're gonna have all these plans, and then Survivor can just throw it on its head. And then you have to adapt.
There are times where I like it. There are times where I like it. A lot of times I don't. But this was who came down the mountain, getting ready for the merge. Okay. We draw rocks, and thanks to Greg, we have these cool graphics. This is your orange
team. Orange.
Which, I mean, if you're going into a challenge and Jonathan's on your team, that's where you want to be, right?
Wonder what's going to happen. Right.
And then we've got our blue team over here. So they got Mike, which helped. They have, each team's got a strong guy.
True.
Of the strong guy camps.
Luckily.
And then our 2 sitters, people who drew gray rocks.
Who you're thinking like, yeah, did I shoot green on the roulette table, or am I odd man out? And they're contemplating the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, yeah. That would be a long challenge for them. A mental challenge.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the challenge, Greg, walk us through the steps of what the actual challenge is, and then we'll talk about it after, but just tell us like if you were Jeff Probst laying out the challenge. Okay.
So if you come across this, it looks like Jeff Probst was like maybe 20 times the size of a normal person and took like a golf ball and just shoved it in the ground, because it's this huge boulder that's like literally like waist deep if you were to stand in the hole, because you see them standing in the hole at one point. They have to somehow get that boulder out. In Jonathan's case, you just take one hand and like kind of palm it and like just lift it out. Everyone else has to, He's like, check this out, and he starts like throwing it around and
twirling it like a basketball.
Yeah, he does.
We'll get there though. We'll get there.
Like
he does have an advantage. We'll get there though. We'll get there.
Yeah. So they have to dig out the
producers didn't
boulder and basically roll the boulder across.
There's a big.
Yeah, it's a ball.
Yeah, logs and like things that are in their way. And then they have to use that boulder to put one person onto the boulder as if it's like a ladder or device for height. And then they have to get down multiple keys. And those keys get their puzzle pieces eventually. Then they use that boulder to get up a giant wall, which turns out to be challenging. And then from there, they have to climb another wall up to where they can then do, I believe it was a 75 piece puzzle, which is a lot of pieces when you're going fast and they're big wooden blocks. So that's ultimately the challenge.
I just
Huge
want to
boulder
emphasize the
shoved in the ground.
boulder is probably 10 feet tall. It's taller than everyone.
It's an Indiana Jones boulder.
Yeah. It's the ball,
You
the
would be
boulder,
running
whatever.
away from it.
It's
Yeah. If
huge.
it was coming down after you on a mountain, you'd want to get out of its way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you're Jonathan. Then you'd be like, what?
Right. And then he just put up his hand.
And it would like shatter.
Right. So we've alluded to
what
this,
happens?
but
Yeah.
Jonathan killed it single-handedly.
Takes another leadership role.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's not just strength with him. He's proving he's more than just strength. He really is. Yeah, he may not be strategic in building a puzzle, but he's always strategic on how he's basically commanding the troops. Like he's very when it came to that other challenge with the braid, he had them going in a pattern that got them unwound quickly. And with this, he took control and was basically like, he knew his own strength. So he was like, you guys do this, boom. He would stop them. He'd say, you up. He'd help throw them up. He was in command of the whole thing, and everybody else was just army ants along with
he's
him.
like a team captain.
Yeah. If you go to the blue team, it was Romeo, and I don't even remember who was digging next to him, but he was like digging against someone, and they're like, probably Drea, she's smarter, and was like, no, sand goes this way. And it's like they were just, doing this the whole time. Jonathan's like, no, we need to all do this. He gets everyone on the same page. They make a nice little ramp, and then he walks around by himself and like runs into it, thinking we're gonna like separate a shoulder. Jeff makes a comment that like he's taking it on. He budges it, and then he's like, well, maybe if we all push on it, which was kind of a beautiful moment, then they can get it out.
Yeah.
And then you hear that like suction cup sound, right?
Yeah. It was cool that they all figured out that they could work together and kind of gain some ground against the other team.
Yeah, I like that.
It was cool.
So then they just get that thing going about 50 miles an hour. It launches over the first log, rolls almost to the second log. They have to backtrack it. Jonathan goes around, of course, to stop it. Then what?
Yeah. I just remember team by team. I don't remember like who was first or second.
The back and forth.
Mike, Mike showed a lot of
the
leadership
interesting
too,
part,
because he was showing some great problem solving skills in the climb over the ball aspect, because Drea was really having a really challenging time. Because it's a lot of this challenge was the strategy of who goes when, and that's where Jonathan really excelled. Like, I'm gonna go first because I have the upper arm strength to just yank everybody up after me, and the other team didn't have anyone with that firepower, and they ended up Drea going last worked out really well the last challenge, because she does have some upper arm strength. We saw it before when she did like the
but she's exhausted helping all those people up.
Yeah, she helped a bunch of other people up, all those scrappy little guys like Romeo, but then had no strength left to herself climb the ball. So what Mike did was, first he suggested like grab my feet, and she couldn't even do that.
Turns around
in the face. So didn't work.
And then she went down to like that superhero pose. Did you notice that? She's like squatted down like she just landed from
Right. Oh, it was hard to watch, because we forget just sitting at home after eating like our lovely dinner, and we're like having a glass of wine watching Survivor. These people haven't eaten for 11 days at this point, and they've been through all these other challenges, so she's probably just so tired along with all of them.
And they want to win so bad, and just getting picked on the other team than Jonathan has got to be so demotivating. I mean, right?
Yeah.
Especially when Applebee's is on the line.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that yet.
Oh my gosh. So they tried the first strategy, and then Mike comes up with the second strategy, which is, I think it was Romeo, jump back down, help Drea get up, and then I'll just pull you up because you're lighter and you're not completely spent, which worked. Was
Now,
amazing.
Yeah,
meanwhile, Orange team is up top, and they're like halfway through the puzzle, right?
Yeah, and that's the problem with something like this, where it wasn't as challenging as some of the other puzzles we've seen. It just was a lot. The quantity was there.
Exactly.
The actual photo was just the logo, and it seemed pretty straightforward. But they were just dealing with there was 75 wooden pieces all cut in weird shapes. That's a lot to even just literally move from one table to the other, let alone lay them all down so we could see them facing up and then start sorting it. That in itself was just time consuming. Once they were putting it together, they were moving pretty quickly. And so, unfortunately for the other team, every second that was going by was just
another piece. Yeah. I think that the pieces were double-sided, and I think that added a little bit of challenge, but I'm almost wondering if they meant for it to be like a vertical puzzle build, and then it was just like too challenging.
No, they demoed it laying down, and the other side was blank.
I know, but was it? I thought
it was blank. No. When they demoed it, it was laying down and it was blank. So that was like she kept saying, "Turn them to the color side. Turn them to the color side." So that way
that's because then and I remember Jonathan was like, "Turn them all over," and she's like, "It's fine. We got time."
Yeah,
I'm like,
they almost didn't because the other team was not far behind during the puzzle portion.
Yeah,
they were gaining ground.
But they were still they were halfway done. But what's half when the other one's almost done? You know what I mean?
It's pretty good. I mean, we don't know the time elapse on the puzzle, how long it took. But
good point.
The other part I liked was Omar's comment. He was during the I can't believe I did that.
Yeah,
climbing the ramp wall. The ramp wall was like a, I don't know, degrees, 15-degree angle. It was like this. I mean, you couldn't really just run up it. You needed someone to also grab your arms and help you. And he was the last one up on his side and got up there first try.
And then it was a pile of 3 of them just laying on each other because they were so exhausted.
They were exhausted.
Which, can you imagine?
That's a hard one.
But
I thought that was a good. This was a good episode for Omar. This was a good showcase of Omar's, I guess, athletic ability in the challenge, and then some of his strategy comes up later. So
so I obviously, so we've alluded to it, but Orange team wins. Now what we didn't bring up, which we forgot, was at the beginning when they actually talked about what the rewards. So the rewards were, and this is all they knew about until they didn't know that switcheroo was coming. They just knew the reward was one team will get to eat food, and it's going to be from Applebee's. And everybody went, Applebee's! I love Applebee's! And I mean, okay. Natalie and I were laughing. I've never seen a group of people more excited for Applebee's in my life.
And specifically Marianne.
Well, she's excited. They could have said, "And you're going to get a glass of water," and she would have been like, "Are you kidding me? I love water. It's delicious." But they're, the people were saying, and it wasn't just they're hungry. They were saying, "I love Applebee's." This is this is a big Friday night out.
Yeah.
They were eating in the neighborhood, and they were ready. Something about a neighborhood, right?
I love it.
I mean, of course, Aaron, I agree with you, but they were. It was you could have picked 100 restaurants, and you guys chose my number one. It was
oh my gosh, it's wanting. I kind of want to go to Applebee's now. Just the
I know. Natalie and I said, should we find one and take our kids? We've not. I don't know the last time in my life I've eaten at Applebee's, but I was like,
I can be susceptible to the power of suggestion because sometimes we see an Olive Garden commercial and next thing you know we're at Olive Garden that weekend.
You want those breadsticks?
Hey Greg,
your family.
Do we have Applebee's up here in Oregon? Do we have Applebee's?
There used to be one that closed. I know of that one. Actually, I think the only 2 that I knew of are closed. So I don't even know if there's any around here. They went to the wayside Chili's.
But Greg, if there is one, I think us, you, Bailey, we should, to celebrate her wedding, we should take her and her husband to Applebee's.
Yes.
And she missed last week too, so we can actually one time the rope there. We'll get my
Oh.
machete. We'll go light
Ooh.
some fire outside of Applebee's.
Light some fire in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Guys, there's Applebee's all over the place. How have we missed it?
What?
Yeah.
Are they opening them back up?
There's Lake Oswego. There's Beaverton. There's.
All right.
That's it. There's 2. But, that's more than we thought.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure they don't say
now
closed.
We're doing a commercial for Applebee's.
Yeah. All right. I'll look further offline.
So I wrote down Buffs, immunity, Applebee's. That's what this section was to me.
Oh yes. So
Very yeah. So sorry.
And did he say you'd earn your immunity at that point? I think he did. I think they knew that they would earn.
You wouldn't go to tribal.
Yeah.
You would earn your buff. You would earn immunity. Yeah.
Yes.
And he said those who don't win, half of you are going to compete in individual for individual immunity, and you will go to tribal.
Yeah.
And then the 2 sitters. So I'm going to remind you guys who they were. Thanks to
Gray Rock pullers.
They pulled the Gray Rocks, Lindsay and Roxroy. Who Lindsay is someone who I'm like, oh, I would have wanted her in the challenge if I was, with me helping me.
Yeah,
she's athletic. But the 2 of them, what ended up happening there was Jeff said, "Okay, guys, great job. Orange, here's orange. You guys win. You're going to Applebee's. Blue, you're each going to get 1 serving of rice. Congratulations."
Yeah, not even late in the neighborhood.
And Gray Rocks, here's the deal. The winners are going to decide which one of you's coming with them to Applebee's. And the other one of you has a boat ride out to an island by yourself where you're just going to chill. Now, you're going to have a great power. We'll tell you about that later. But for now, you're going to be out there for 2 days. 2 days and 2 nights by yourself. What do you guys think? They chose Roxroy to go to the island. They chose Lindsay to go with them to Applebee's. What did you guys think of that decision?
I think it was High that was whispering, "I don't trust them."
Roxroy. He doesn't trust
because
Roxroy.
Was it Roxroy?
He said, "I don't trust him." They were talking about Roxroy.
I don't trust him. Oh, not them. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think it was. It was so heavy-handed, the hints that Jeff was giving of like how important the advantage would be that the person who went to the island would get. That I mean, it's hard to say because we're in the position of being hungry for 11 days, but I would be the one to go. I would want to be the one to go.
The same thing.
Well, or if I didn't go, if I didn't trust Roxroy, I would not be wanting to put that power in his hands. That's what really got me is they didn't say, guys, one of us has to go. We cannot let him go. Well, so we either got to pick Tori or Lindsay, or one of us has to go. We can't let this guy. That's what I would have thought if I didn't.
I'm surprised they all agreed on Roxroy.
And you're ultimately burning this guy out of food. So he's not happy about that. He's about to go get an advantage. Like, why would, and who knows what the advantage is? Like, why not take the risk and maybe go get some food?
Yeah.
Well, and the interesting thing is we will never see this advantage again.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
They made a point of saying these are filmed back to back, so we're able to do this. Now, we know they're going to come up with something else wacky and crazy to alter next season, but this probably won't happen again because it's kind of too big of a deal, and they've used it twice now. You wouldn't want to make it a regular staple.
And it's not a fan favorite. Right. People don't like. We'll get to it. To it. But next up is Rox goes to
wait. Before we do, just let's talk about Applebee's real quick. They went to Applebee's. They had a cool shack set up, branded by Applebee's, Applebee chalkboard menus and stuff. I mean, obviously commercial. That's how they make shows. They need the money to make these kind of shows. But I thought it was cool. The food did look delicious, especially momentarily we're all mentally there with them and we're hungry and starving, and now they're bringing out burgers.
You just went for a long hike.
Desserts.
A peanut butter and jelly sandwich is amazing.
Yeah. Aren't we there every weekend?
Cocktails.
Yeah.
Those big
Jonathan
globe cocktails.
Brings up that he's starving.
Yeah. Eating so much.
He eats?
His meal.
I wrote it down. Did
Okay.
you guys write it down? Greg, did you write it?
I
Of course.
took a mental note.
I was just like,
Norma gets some chickens.
Average meal.
Here, wait, let me get his photo up while you say this. Here, there. Now, Greg, what's his?
Give me some legs. 18 eggs. That's not 18 eggs a day. That's 18 eggs a meal, right? Yeah. 9 pieces of cheese. He didn't say slices, right? It was like pieces of, so chunks of cheese of some sort. And then grits. That's his average meal.
What was the last thing?
So grits, like from the South, because he's from what, like Alabama, right?
Okay.
Yeah. 18 eggs, 9 pieces of cheese. I thought that was specific. 9 pieces of cheese.
It must be Kraft singles. Laura, I mean, I can just
like you can get the packages of deli sliced like cheddar and stuff.
Okay.
Too.
All right. Maybe it's that. Maybe
it's just funny. 9 pieces of
cheese is going up.
Yeah.
Oh my!
That's a lot of.
Think of how
tiring it is just cracking the eggs. No wonder he's so strong. He sits there cracking 18 eggs every meal.
I don't know. We worked with a guy who ate hard-boiled eggs like there was no tomorrow. He would just buy like 8 eggs and eat them.
Do they like know him at Costco? Like
they knew him. We worked in like a high-rise building, and there was like the little mini mart on the ground floor that everybody would get like a snack from, or aspirin if you needed, or whatever.
Yeah. And if Jonathan worked with you, the guy at that little mini mart would have been like, we can't keep up.
Oh, they had to like increase their supply
because of your guy.
This guy. Yeah. He was similar, like workout guy, like big buff gym rat.
That's what it is.
Eating a bunch of hard-boiled eggs. He would peel out the yolk because I don't know, cholesterol or whatever.
Okay, we're going deep on something that doesn't matter. Let's go back to Survivor. Aaron brought up a good point. Tori made a mistake by talking about her tribe. High's face was like, I see why she is
100%.
So the only thing of interest other than delicious looking food and people having this great moment was Tori, who knows she's on the outs with her tribe.
To when we started,
was like, okay, everyone, I want you to know I'm available. Start drafting me. Bring me to your team. And so she immediately kind of said, I'm cool. My team sucks. They don't like me. They were trying to get me out. I want to be with cool people. Now, which to me screams, you're a problem person. I don't think she realizes that's not smart.
Yeah, you're the common denominator.
Yeah.
It's so interesting because she's a super fan. She grew up, her family watching Survivor. So it's so interesting that what she feels is good strategy in this season. Like, why is she doing that?
Just like
boggles the mind.
Episode 1. Hey everyone, I don't have strategy. Here it is.
And right off the bat, I'm gonna lie to you about what I do for a living. Don't forget that too.
Yeah.
So she's
pointlessly.
Pointlessly.
Yeah, she thought that by telling him she was, a psychologist or psychiatrist or whatever, that it would backfire. But it's like, well, you're 100% unlikable, so let's start there. That's already going to hurt you. The job, if anything, the job would have made you at least sound kind of interesting. And So it was that whole.
But she was vindictive about the choice. She was all about sending Roxroy. They were having their issues earlier that we alluded to, and karma's gonna get you.
Yeah, she doesn't have any of these advantages that are kind of saving some of these other players that people have their eyes on.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we go to the alternative of the neighborhood, right? I did Camp Applebee's and then Camp Rice.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And it's Romeo, right? I think pouring it, or someone pouring it, and someone's like, "You spilled some." Maybe it's probably like a grain or two in the sand.
But still,
please don't.
I would be slapping whoever spilled 3 grains or whatever. I'd be like,
every bit counts. Every calorie. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then they're eating with their signature Survivor shells, right?
Yep.
I would love to eat with a Survivor shell.
Yes.
I should add that to my list of things.
Yes.
Ooh, maybe at Applebee's you could bring a shell and eat from a shell.
Yeah.
Dream come true.
Well, one time some rope, light some flint fires at Applebee's with some shells.
Eat rice.
The list
shells.
gets longer.
You're gonna love
I
us
was
or hate
thinking
us.
next week, honey, we should eat rice like with our, white rice with dinner. But then I was like, no, we should do the opposite and eat like some elaborate, delicious meal while we watch Survivor.
Just coconut
Because we
and rice.
can. Because we're not there.
Fried coconut. I
Yeah.
actively eat coconut to try and get better at liking coconut. Or like you
Ooh.
fry rice and then you like eat the crunchy part because they always complain about that. It's like, no, that's the good part. You
That's
gotta
the
get used to it.
delicacy. Yeah.
You know what? These jesters are performing for me. I don't need to eat like that.
Yeah. So then they're
Drea
eating the
pulls
rice.
a move. Right?
Go on.
Drea pulls a move where she's like, "Are your socks down by the ocean? It's high tide. They're gonna get washed away." Did you hear that?
Yeah. Okay.
And then all of a sudden she has a conversation, right?
I didn't catch that.
And she's sharing that Roxroy's on her side and that, they're good to
Yes.
go.
With Mike, right? This
As
is
she's
the
talking to
conversation.
Mike. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta
Exactly.
share who it's with.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Right. That was good. They did a real quick download with each other.
Yeah.
Like, here's
Which was
where I'm
great.
at, who's I'm with. Here's who
Well,
I'm with.
and they had that bond of we both spoke our weird alien language to each other and activated our immunity idols. So we're in a club together. So real quick, let's I got and
he's like, I didn't have a vote for 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was interesting too that they quickly connected, and like with what they quickly had an alliance that was on paper like, okay, we can go through to the end if we all just stick together. We're good. We've got 8 or whatever. Which I thought was,
best
great.
laid plans.
Yes.
Yeah. It was all coming together. And
Everything was
then
looking like roses.
Like the A-team.
And then meanwhile, over at Exile Island, we've got Roxroy just living his best life, loving every minute of being alone, building the most elaborate shelter that anyone could possibly need for a few days.
Camp.
He built a whole camp. What else? I mean, good on him for filling his time, enjoying this time.
Being like, this is what I wanted.
Yeah. Good for him.
You know what? He, aside from him, he won back a lot of my respect this episode. He was losing a lot of my respect. He won back a lot. I still think, looking back, some of the things that bothered me, like his kind of perceived laziness in the challenges, the team challenges, that was still there. That didn't change. And his willingness to sit out all the time too and let his team do the work, kind of, that still rubs me the wrong way. But at least the stuff that like he gets criticized for about caring about the camp, caring about the fire, it's like he's playing Survivor his way, which is, aren't we here to survive too? Like, I'm trying to help us survive. And so, yeah, immediately he arrives to camp or to his new home. He's going to be there 2 days and nights, and he throws together a decent shelter and a fire. And
I did appreciate how long it took him to build the fire when he was like on everybody's ass about building the fire at camp.
Because he did it wrong.
Oh.
So, Greg, what was he doing wrong?
Okay, so you take the flint, and they always like show him like hitting it. And that's not what you do. It's nice, just like scrape the magnesium off the back. You make a nice little pile, turn it over to the flint. It's like kind of, it looks like this. It's like the top part. And then you go right over that with your, like that. And you just throw showers and showers of sparks onto that. That's how you do it. If you're hitting it, you're ruining the flint. You're ruining possibly your hand and definitely ruining the machete. So that bothered me. But perseverance worked and he was successful.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, his advantage is sitting over here in the corner and he didn't even see it. He just went like, I'm gonna go straight to work.
Well,
right. And Aaron brought up he did talk
yeah,
about.
I was gonna say, Greg's talking about how he just storms past something, not looking at it, and I was about to bring up he reveals to us his sight is going, and so Greg sounds like a monster right now.
Good going, Greg.
But so let's
Norma's got my back.
So let's chat about this for a sec. I'm
a jerk.
So he revealed to us, and you know what's funny is, so he has this beautiful moment where he's looking at like God's country before him. I mean, beautiful island, beautiful ocean. The sun is setting, a full moon is coming in, one of those big full moons that's orange and colorful and stuff. He's looking at all this, and he goes to the top of the mountain on his island. He's staring at all this, and he's talking about it. And
this epic shot, like pano around him.
Yeah, I mean, like the crew doing the drones and stuff. They're just like, this is it. We are grabbing some awesome footage here. And it was a beautiful moment. And he reveals to us, and I noticed too, his eyes looked a little weird. Like they kept catching him, and like his eyes looked weird. And I was like, what's going on there? And then he revealed he has a degenerative thing that actually causes like a clouding of his corneas, and he has to get surgery to remove it. But over time, it's going to basically take over, and it sounds like he will eventually go blind. And he said, this is kind of one of the last moments I will see so clearly, and the fact that I get to see this and how beautiful the earth can be. It was a beautiful moment, and I'm like, okay, like this is now he's winning me over, and I'm kind of getting maybe why he was a little slower on things and stuff, possibly too, because he might have been.
That's a good point.
Challenges and stuff.
Yeah, and had he worn the rec specs prior to that? Like he has those like thick glasses.
All of a sudden, these Coke bottle glasses come out, and I had never seen them, and maybe he was wearing them, but they edited it out for this moment.
Okay.
But I'd never seen them until now. And now he's wearing them at camp, and they're really thick.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was a beautiful moment, and it was touching.
He's ready to play some basketball. I like the idea of if I ever need to flint, I have learned from you, Norma. I got your back. Flinting Flint.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to Applebee's, flint some flint. That's what we're calling it. We're gonna one-time some rope. We're gonna clamshell some dinner. Yeah, so that was great. That was like basically, the highlight of his show to that point, because up until then we don't see Jeff yet, right?
No. They do pop. I think they pop back to the tribe. And we see, if I remember, this was kind of fast right here. Like a bunch of things kind of happened quickly, but I believe this is when they cut back, and the Applebee's gang showed up and met Team Rice, and they're all taking over Camp Vati, right? The Vati Beach is becoming everybody's home now. And so it was. Of course, it's like they always are like super glad to meet you, super excited, super glad,
hugging each other.
Like,
I need to go poop. Someone want to come with me? We need to start.
It is like, quick. They are all like on top of it,
and they know. I mean, people know now at this point in the game, like you got to start working fast. And so
it always like baffles me though that they haven't met each other yet. You know what I mean? They've been in a game with each other for 12 days, and they're like introducing themselves because they hadn't really like shaking hands with most of these people. They've been
all that they say at the beginning of challenges is all they know. Yeah.
And imagine if your first impression like of Marianne is just she keeps talking about this bunny rabbit or whatever, and
the mailbox.
Like, who is this psycho? She brings it up every time we come here.
She was crying over Applebee's.
She was physically shaking.
She was like emotionally moved by Applebee's. So it cuts to Omar, right? He's like, well, the numbers 4, 4, 4. We should be even, right? not the case.
No.
And that, I don't know. Then it was Lindsay clarifying the amulet thing, which was helpful because then people started actually pairing up, and they kind of got the amulet group together with Lindsay, Drea, and Hai. So they kind of covered like what the power was, and you notice Hai just jump right in. And later on, he talks about not being the driver, not being a passenger, and he's like, "This is my chance to drive," and that's exactly what he did there.
And you know what? I have to say, kudos to him. He has a really good way of. It's so easy in the game, I'll say this, to seize and appear to seize power that a lot of times drives people away. They go, I don't like this guy. But he does a really good job of pulling people together, playing kind of a captain role, but not turning people off. I think that's like he's very skillful in that. And he immediately started pulling together his faction. He identified Jonathan's team, and they come together and boom, and they're laying plans, and they realize they've got the numbers. They have the numbers if they stick to it. There was a couple things, like it showed Marianne walking around talking to people, and she kind of said like, I let everyone tell me, and then I kind of goes, and one of the things she said was, I have so many options, and I was like, that's not good. If you think everyone wants to work with you, no one wants to work with you.
That means you're not getting a straight story.
At least somebody's lying. Yeah.
And this was also the moment that Jonathan and Mike buddied up and had their
that was
bromance.
Cool.
Yeah, their little bromance. And they kind of bonded over the fact that everyone thinks I'm a dummy because I'm big and strong. I was there when I was a fireman and stuff, and it's like, I mean, let's face
it. It's like cool. That was kind of the transition to
it
them.
Gave
like
some depth to
there was like 6 of them on the beach, and it's just the 2 of them on the kind of side of that conversation.
Yeah,
it showed us why all these people have been talking about how Mike is such a great guy, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny, those 2, I'll admit, I kind of thought of dummies, you know what I mean? In a way, I was quick to judge them in that way, and then they've already won me over the past episodes, but you know, they won me over, and I'd imagine, this is, someone did point this out. I think Romeo did later, because he was like threatened, and he's like, they even sleep next to each other, and they go watch the sunset together and stuff.
Speaking of Romeo, I did like his complaining or like apologizing to America for looking like crap.
Yeah.
Just like, it's okay, Romeo.
Yeah.
It's much easier for a guy to look like crap than for the women who usually do a lot to their hair and wear makeup a lot of times. So the men look pretty much the same.
Good. You know what though? Men don't feel that way. Men think the girls on Survivor look pretty hot. Like,
I think they look good. Yeah.
They're wearing buffs, I guess. They're down to their buffs.
Until they drop them.
I'm gonna get you a buff, honey.
I'm in.
So I'm like looking at my notes because so much was happening so fast.
Yeah, there was a lot.
I wrote that Mike might have the best like real social game I've ever seen, in that he like genuinely is connecting with these people, and he's ultimately saying like, we're friends no matter what, and he's finding commonalities, and it gave me hope that Mike and Jonathan would go farther, because up until now I'm like, well, as soon as the merge hits, Jonathan's gone, then Mike, you know what I mean? That's like the 1-2 punch. But it kind of made me think like maybe there is a little stickiness here, you know?
Yeah, maybe so.
You have Hai playing the same way Mike's playing, which is pretty much, I'm going to be very loyal, I'll tell you, and I'm going to stick with you. It will be interesting to see if either get far with that. But I think
well, and then to their point though, like they're like he said, Jersey guy and an Alabama dude talking. He's like, only on Survivor. Like, that's why I love this show, because it brings these random people together. But it's great. You know what I mean?
I mean,
and they have 2 hours to just
Yeah,
it
but
with this.
we're living in America. That's like going like, imagine a city with a Mexican guy, a black guy, and a white guy. Only in America.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
yeah, that is what America is. Like, we are the melting pot of the world. So,
and people in Europe would laugh at like,
And an
really, how
Applebee's.
different are the people from Alabama versus New Jersey? They're all Americans still.
yeah.
Well, if you've ever been to New Jersey, it's a different crowd
Yeah.
there.
But not
New Jersey's
to Europe. We're all cowboys, you know.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
true. We're all riding horses.
Yeah.
And you know what? And Europe
So
can
then
shut their mouths for that. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
So-
Europe, Asia, very, you
So
know,
then
it's
it
a big
cuts to
world.
like the crab race. You remember that part? They're all like digging under rocks looking for crabs.
Oh yeah. Jonathan's
Well,
just
how do you
hurling
look?
Birtle.
How do you look
bolt
under a
holder.
rock?
Jonathan.
Yeah. You just pick up 500-pound rocks and just flip them over, and then the crab runs out. That's how you do it. And then cut to Jonathan holding an octopus. Like, where'd that come from? I don't know. And then he's like almost
Aquaman.
Hawaiian slinging a manta ray. I mean, this guy's insane.
You know what though?
Yeah.
The one thing he did wrong on that, Greg, he didn't have time to load and pull it back.
Yeah,
so he was
he
trying
threw
to
it.
throw, and that ain't gonna work, buddy. I mean, it looks
right.
good for the camera,
That's
but
right.
that ain't gonna work. You gotta use the sling. Like, and he's throwing and he forgot water bends, and so actually the stingray. Yeah, I'm just saying.
You're the water guy. I'm the flint guy.
Yeah.
I'll make rice.
Yeah.
We'll survive,
excited.
guys.
I'm excited for Applebee's.
I don't even know
pickup.
if Norm was talking about the octopus or if she's talking about Jonathan. We'll just-
Yeah. And then
But
we've
then-
got Chanel wandering into conversations happening.
and conversations ending every
my
time she arrives.
gosh.
How awkward. That was awkward just watching.
Oh, how painfully obvious too if you're her.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. She knows
And
something.
they're having like good conversations. They're laying
Mhm.
out their 8. Like it's solid. And then, I need to go look in this spot for fish now.
They need to get better at faking.
Oh yeah, that was brutal. She walks over and sits down with them, and they all go, "Hey, well, time to hit the old dusty trails." 2 of them goes, "I'm gonna go fishing."
Yeah.
2 of them goes, "I'm gonna go walk on the sand." That was literally 2 people's excuse. Let's go walk on the sand. And another 2 said they're gonna go get some kind of supplies or something. And it was like Chanel's just sitting there like, womp, womp, you know.
I think something's up. Yeah, I don't understand her. I don't understand her gameplay and like her strategy. She's just kind of baffling.
Well,
She ruined it.
and Omar talks about it in that little huddle that like she had a chance to tell him that he doesn't have a vote. She could have totally gone up to him and been like, "Hey, we both made the same decision. We both risked it. We lost the biscuit. You don't have a vote." Instead, she doesn't tell him. He finds out from other people, and then it's like, "Oh, now you've lost his vote. You've lost or his trust." Like,
yeah, Aaron.
I don't know.
Replying to your comment, Aaron, I think unfortunately enough people have enough numbers to where they also need people to pick off. And Chanel, she didn't arrive with enough people trusting her. She's not going to win people over now, I don't think, unless a group gets desperate and they need an extra vote. But even then, they keep her for another week, and then they, sacrifice her. I just now. Survivors always throws us a curveball though, so she can hang out longer because she keeps winning the golden duck or whatever,
Yeah.
So
now, as they like had their, well, actually, this is later. Now that I think about it, but ultimately, Chanel at one point picks off Lydia into a one-on-one conversation. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but that is interesting because of the outcome of the show. I was actually surprised by Lydia's ability to like kind of feign ignorance and say that she didn't know what was going on. And
I was not impressed. It was a horrible performance. And Chanel immediately said, "What a horrible performance." I knew she was lying to me. I could see it in her eyes. What are you talking about, Greg?
Like,
there was no one was impressed.
It was better than I think. I've said from the beginning that Lydia's on the wrong show. but I was initially a little bit more
Chanel
impressed.
immediately says,
Yeah.
I knew she was lying. So how is that at all impressive, Greg? Like the one person she was supposed to throw off the scent completely knew she was lying. That was no way.
That's true.
Boom, out.
I'll give you that.
Out.
But then
meanwhile,
that's High's gal, right? Yeah, go on.
Sorry. Yeah, High's gal. Back on Exile Island, we finally have Jeff arrive to explain to Roxroy what the advantage is. And he's got the hourglass and explains the element of turning back time. You can go back in time and change the outcome of the challenge. So the 6 who were safe will not be safe, and the 6 who were going to tribal will now be safe. So just reversing it altogether. Which is not a great move, in my opinion. Not a great, what's the word? Twist.
I think it's a powerful choice to present to someone, and I don't think he utilized it like he could have.
How so?
Because you have a group of people that have won and got their Applebee's, right? And he came back, and I mean, we can talk about his decision, right? He decides that he is gonna go back in time, ruins it for them, and says, well, you guys got your food, so now I'm giving them immunity, and you guys can go work off that food. You need to go, do some time. But you're then pissing off that group of people that felt like they earned it, and you're taking it from them. If he had put himself on the losing tribe like his other option and said, okay, by the way, I had the choice to do this, and all y'all can thank me later or now for making that choice, I think that would have gone a long farther. Now, he didn't know that the group of 8 had formed and they were already including him in that group of 8, because that's obviously for us to see and for him not to. But either way, it seems to me that you don't want to put yourself on the immune tribe. You want to put yourself on the losing tribe and consider that a free tribal. There's only been a few instances in Survivor history where people have done that and then lost. It was they used to give out cars, and I know that people have given away the car or given away something, and then they get voted out. But I think had he played it better, things would have been different.
Well, so here's the deal. Things change so quickly on this game. There's so many variables that suddenly get thrown out like this. That to me, I think it probably was a smart move, in my opinion, for him to switch it, because by switching it, he also saved himself. He didn't have to compete in the challenge. If he didn't switch it,
which is a hard one,
he was going to have to go compete in this challenge and fight for immunity and go to tribal, which he already kind of knew, I think, that he's not exactly at the top of the heap when it comes time to get voting. So, but I do think it was funny that he presented to everyone as, hey, I felt like it was the fair thing because you guys got to eat. So now, because your bellies are full, why don't you guys compete? It's yeah, but you're also saving yourself. Don't forget to mention that, because especially when you're competing with a bunch of people who are being pretty honest at times, you should offer up. And guys, unfortunately, I had the opportunity to save myself as well, and I felt like 2 goods were being served. I took it. You got to throw in there that I'm saving myself too, because it's kind of disingenuous to be like, hey guys, I felt for you because they got to eat, so I'm gonna save you. It's okay, and you're saving yourself, ass. So mention that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Which I thought was that didn't sit well with me. It was kind of a weak,
Not a great excuse. I did.
Yeah. But I probably would have done the same as him, to be honest, because I would have been like, why should I compete if I have the chance to not compete? And if I could last one more round, every one I could last is another one where I might find an idol or something.
That's
crazy.
True, but the type of guy Roxroy is, I would have thought he maybe wouldn't have done it, because just the fairness factor of
the guy who sits out every challenge.
They already won They won the challenge. They're supposed to be safe. That's what they earned. And then he's taking that away from them.
Yeah, but I'm saying you're saying the guy who sat out a lot of challenges and let his team compete
is
you think he'd be concerned about helping him? Yeah, I mean, like, come on. He definitely, I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Might have been a mutual choice of the team to let him sit out because he is the older, like, broken down body one.
Even then, that's not helping him out to be known as the broken down guy. Like, you're still
Norma said that I'm heartless for my comment earlier. That was poorly timed on my part, and I want to say that I think that his decision was short-sighted, but I also
come on, Greg.
I really do. Like, I think all he's thinking about is this next vote, which I think he could have bought his immunity from the winning tribe. And I think instead he's walking through it the easy way. And then next he has a target on his back. So I think 2 or 3 tribals down the road, he's screwed because he's drawn that line with 6 people. Whereas the other people, he could have just been like
2 or 3 tribals away is a lifetime in this game.
Going into the merge too, you got to think about the case for the jury. And at least he made a move. You know, this is a move on his Survivor resume to the jury. Like, what moves did you make?
And that's who won last time with Erica.
I took the advantage that was given to me. An opportunity was presented, and I took it.
Just like all of you admitted we're playing Survivor, and at the end of the day, you do have to look out for yourself because one person's going to win $1 million, and you want to try to be it. So yeah, I think he made the right choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Jeff brings up Tori looking at or not looking at them.
Oh my gosh!
And then
Tori's reasoning.
And Roxroy on the island, when he was debating whether or not to do it, he said, "There's always the Tori factor." When he was deciding on things, he called it the Tori factor. And he said when he had to smash an hourglass if he was going to turn back the time, or he could left it as it was, and that means everything stays as it is. If he smashes the hourglass, he turns back time, which he smashed it. But the funny thing was, even playing for the camera by himself on an island, he shouts, "Everyone deserves a do-over," and he smashes it. And I'm like, okay, hero, let's not forget you're saving yourself. It's the second time you should have admitted it, but so anyways.
Yeah.
He was talking to himself a lot on that island.
Tori trying to say that she was doing Roxroy a solid by sending him to Exile Island was so frustrating. It's like I want to like her, but then she keeps making mistake after mistake, and like
I definitely don't want to like her. She was a horrible person from the beginning. And Aaron brought up a good point. When she said that, Mike turns and goes, "She just buried herself."
Yeah.
Rebecca brought up an interesting thing too. Roxroy was hoping to get Tori out, so he was leaving her vulnerable by taking her buff. So I guess that is a play.
Yeah.
But I still think self-servingly he should have kept it as it was. Again, I guess we'll find out. We'll see how far he goes, right?
Well, he made his choice, and so that takes us to the first individual immunity challenge. And this challenge was an interesting one. You essentially had every single person had a table, like basically a wooden flap, and on it was a pole, and to that pole was a long rope. And if you pulled the rope, it stood the table up, and if you let go of the rope, it put the table down. On the other side, opposite, all the way at the end of your rope, are wooden blocks that each have a letter that spell immunity. And so the game was you had to carry your block one at a time while holding the rope, not letting the table fall down. You had to walk over, put the first block, walk back, holding the rope, walk back. But each step you take could vibrate, move the table a little. And as you're building, if your table goes, your whole stack can fall. And
you start over.
God, was that a frustrating thing to watch. I mean, you felt for them. It was painful to watch them. Several people got really far up, like they needed one more letter. And that's the other thing. The weight gets different as the stack gets higher and the balance point. And so,
and the weight of your rope as you, I mean, so they've done this challenge 2, maybe 3 times. Last season, I believe it was like the one that was like the final immunity, right? But this time it felt like the rope was so long. Like they had just like a surplus of rope and they're like, let's do 50 feet and see what, I mean, that thing was bowing so much.
Yeah. Tori's especially. Yeah.
It didn't seem like the rope got heavier as time went. Like at first they seemed kind of light. And then by the end, the ropes were just like sagging so much. And there was really no reason. They weren't adding weight, but I guess it just, I don't know, the weight of the
I was comparing ropes too.
Yeah. I do like this one because it's more evenly matched, especially like male to female, you know, because the upper, there's not a lot of like strength and power. It's all just, yeah.
And it's funny because
it's finesse and patience.
Out the gate, I literally wrote Jonathan, always with finesse, because Jonathan at the very, very beginning seemed to be cruising along. And then that game was like a great equalizer. It, like Natalie pointed out, didn't matter if you were a male, female, super strong, super skinny, whatever. It was, everyone was faced with the same challenge and you just could not beat time. Like you had to go careful. You had to go
steady.
Now, people that aren't good at challenges or strategic, like Marianne, dropped her block, not the stack, but dropped a block in her hand and then dropped the rope to pick the block up. That kind of blew my mind a little bit. And Jeff called her on it. But she was the first one to drop, and it's because she dropped her block over by the table, nowhere near the little table flappy thing. And I was just like, wrong show, honey.
Yeah.
And so
okay, bring that back up
real quick. Lindsay was close, Lydia was close. They had some tall stacks.
I think Jeff does influence the outcome. I think there's times when he's talking and it's really hard for them to block it out because a lot of times they'll talk back to him. I guess
you know what?
To everyone.
It's the name of the game, baby. You've watched it enough. Every one of those people come on and say they've watched 90 seasons. They know Jeff's going to be talking. Deal with it.
That's true. And it's kind of luck of the draw where you line up if you're right by Jeff or on the other end. Whatever. So, that's true.
I think the kind of frustrating thing for at least you and I, Greg, maybe not Natalie, maybe she was voting for her, but I think most people felt going into this, Tori is on the chopping block. Tori will be going home.
Oh yeah, get her out of there.
And then really good TV, to be quite honest. Tori wins freaking immunity. And that it was great TV because it was like the villain won. You know what I mean? That she hasn't won the war, she won the battle, but it was like, because
immediate test for this new alliance, you know? I mean, they started out winning the immunity challenge, gonna go gun for Tori, and then Tori's safe, now we gotta vote one of us. Insane. Yeah.
And do you think in the back of their mind, like during that frustrating challenge as they're holding the rope, are they just like super pissed at Roxroy? Because I'm like sweating watching it at home, and I would have just been irate with that dude. Like, you sent me back.
Push it aside for that moment.
I would have been just shaking.
I don't know. It's hard though because everybody does admit like they'll throw someone on the bus, they'll walk back and go, okay, no hard feelings, guys. We're playing the game. And it's like,
we're cool, so
right? There is, we're cool, right? So there is sort of these, I don't know. I don't think he did himself as much damage as maybe you're saying, Greg. I don't think so. I mean, we'll see later. Maybe people when they next week will be like, guys, you're an ass and we're going to go after you. But
So back at camp, to your point, he's just dropped this bomb, sent all these people into a very frustrating challenge. It's completely screwed up their plan. Tori is now not even an option, who would have been an option, right? She wasn't in the 8. So now everyone is scrambling.
Yeah, let me throw up who actually, because it's one of these two. It is the orange team now, the original orange team who was safe. Now this is who's on the chopping block minus Tori. Tori's got the immunity. Now it's Hai, Lydia, Marianne, Jonathan, and the other tribe gets to vote, right?
As well.
So you've got to win over. It's not just these people battling. This group is going to decide
the whole thing.
Who of this is going home. And so now you've got this group scrambling.
Yeah. Minus Tori too. So that there's 4 people to choose from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this group is now, they're out of control because they've got to choose from this. And this was weren't these all 4 part of the same? They were part of the
8 alliance. Yeah.
And so immediately the alliance, which looks so strong and so ready to cruise into the end, is now boom. Everything's up in the air.
And so the early
who's the first person targeted?
Name is Marianne. Everyone's sick of her. But she's got these 2 advantages. So they're kind of like, not really.
And some people are saying Jonathan's name. Romeo is
like, I'm little complex. Like,
it very much was. He was the one who started. That's when this is when he said the comments about Mike and him are ooh, and they lay together and we got to get him out. Like, very much like, I'm small and weak and we got to take these guys out.
Yeah.
It's funny because Romeo and Hai kind of have similar profiles, I feel like, but then Romeo's talking about how little he is, and then Hai's talking about, I consider myself one of the stronger physical players. Yeah. So it's kind of like, is Hai like taller and just more muscular? And
Hai is built a little bit more stronger.
He's a little bit more
Romeo is like a twig.
Yeah.
Well, and they have a nice little moment where I think you kind of see their confidence come out too. And I think Hai is just farther along than Romeo is in terms of like just life in general.
Well, they sat down together and Romeo was like, you are admirable, Hai. You are out. You are a confident gay man who's out. There's no qualms about it. You make no qualms. You are who you are. You own it. My family is going to find out I'm gay by watching this show.
I know.
And I was like, wow, like he's outing himself in one of the biggest, most public ways. And he also talks about where he comes from and how his culture and where he lives and stuff. That ain't going to fly. Now, I did kind of laugh and turn to Natalie and go, yeah, his family's going to be blown away that their son, who's the beauty pageant coach, is gay. But
yeah.
But it was
I just thought he liked being around all those women.
Yeah. He never dated them though. It was weird. I always thought he'd bring one home. No, but it was a touching moment, and everybody has their struggles in life. I've never had to deal with that. So it was interesting to see that play out and to have kind of both ends of the spectrum there. Like, I've been out and people know it and I'm really comfortable. Oh my gosh.
I've got your back.
Yeah. Hai came out strong this episode. Yeah. I like Hai. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like
smart thinker and a smart player.
He's a dangerous player.
Yeah.
A dangerous player for sure.
I think so.
In a good way.
In a good way. He's smart and likable. Like I said, he commands.
If they did another heroes versus villains, I'm guessing he'd be on the villains.
Yeah. I could see that.
But that could be a different episode. We could talk about that, break down the characters. I don't know.
Yeah.
For the end of this season, I think we should have that conversation. Because I think it'll be I think right now has the potential to go either way. He's like Luke Skywalker. Yeah. He can be tempted to the dark side.
There you go.
I'm a nerd. So yeah, they're trying to decide, and Jonathan goes to his boy Omar and goes, Omar, need your help, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And Omar goes,
you're my brain shield.
And Omar goes, buddy, your name's out there. And Jonathan's like, if I've ever needed you, now is the time. And so what are we going to do? And Omar's like, I got you. And so Omar swings into action, and he decides to go after somebody who appears to not be sure about who she wants to go with. And that's Lydia. He finds weakness, and he says, now is the time to strike.
What's interesting is when they're showing a conversation, them in the jungle, Omar and Lydia having a conversation, and she says, I'm open to either Marianne or Jonathan. And when she said that, I'm thinking as Omar, oh, great, this is my in, I'll flip it back to Marianne. But he thinks more strategically than I, and thinks, oh, this is my opening. She's not as solid with the 8. I'm going to go get everybody to flip on her, which was super interesting.
And he campaigned hard and quickly. That dude got around that camp and started gaining numbers fast.
Yeah.
I mean, he told Jonathan, I'm going to take care of you. And he got to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan picked a great alliance partner in Omar.
I was concerned, though, when he then went back to the campfire and started talking to Hai and Mike. And you can see it on Hai's face that he's like, Lydia's my ride or die. I said I'd go to rocks for her. Mike was like, I'm convinced. That sounds good to me if that's what you're doing. Like, he was like, game on, bro.
Yeah.
But Hai, it seemed at that point like he was going to be like, this is dangerous. And then they cut to him talking to Lydia. And I don't feel like we saw what they were saying as much.
Yeah.
But that really concerned me for that moment, because I was like, you didn't need to talk to them. I mean,
it was an interesting tribal because we did not know which way the votes were going to go. Because who did Omar sell it? Or is Marianne still on the chopping block? Or Jonathan?
Aaron brings up an interesting point, and I forgot about this. And it was something that was kind of pointed out in the episode, but I just totally forgot. It wasn't just he leapt on Lydia's uncertainty. He also left on the opportunity to save Marianne and Jonathan, who were part of his original team. And so Omar was actually doing 2 solids. He was saving Jonathan and getting Marianne off that chopping block as well by putting Lydia on it, which ultimately could bode, again, without some kind of wacky, unforeseen thing changing the game, it keeps his core alliance stronger. So, yeah.
Speaking of wacky, I remember all of the twists from last season, and I was still kind of surprised that they did this twist again. I thought they would be a lot different. So I don't know what to expect beyond this. So, but neither do they, because they film back to back. So they don't have a point of reference to the craziness that the producers were like, hey, we have 1.5 years off or whatever. Let's invent some crazy stuff and expose these people to stuff they've never seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
First up, get rid of the rice.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see. So we've got everybody comes on, and boom, we go to tribal now. Everyone, we're like officially we're walking in tribal. Survivor does a great job. What?
We love you, Mr. Jeff.
Mr. Jeff. Yeah, Jonathan's term of endearment.
Yeah. I was going to say, going into tribal, Survivor does such a great job of making sure we kind of feel like we know what's going to happen, but we totally don't know. They do a really good job of leaving some stuff up in the air. Sometimes it does land where we think, but you never walk in 100% certain.
Right.
Yeah. So what did you guys think about this tribal?
The conversation was interesting. I mean, there's a lot of talk about being authentic, which is always funny on Survivor when people have to be duplicitous at the same time. But Lydia talked about that. Even Chanel, who, I mean, I haven't seen her really be vulnerable, which I think authenticity, you need to kind of be open with who you are and what you're about. And I haven't really seen that. She seems kind of steely.
In Tribal 2, it started first with Omar said a really funny thing. Jeff kind of goes, so everybody, okay, Tribal Council time. And Omar basically points out, he said, a lot of people went walking for firewood and there's no firewood back at camp in the pile. Like, it's completely empty.
Yeah, that was very funny.
And everyone laughed because they all know, we're all looking for excuses to talk to each other. It was really funny the way he called that out and worded that. And then, the first thing they talk about, Jeff gets him going, gets him talking, and they start talking about being your true self. And Chanel, and I wrote this down because I was like, you're saying this? Chanel wrote, if you're not your authentic self, people can see right through you. And I thought, you're one of the people everyone is seeing through and completely mistrusting. So it was ironic that she was the one who said that of all people.
Yeah. And
then Romeo saying that he can tell when people have like conversations with him, whether or not they're real or not. That was interesting too.
Yeah. It's all the people who are like, I've been given a gift. I can tell if people are lying. It's like, what are you talking about? Everyone's lying to everybody on this game. Like,
you sure?
Okay, Columbo. We'll see you at the end.
Yeah.
And that really, I mean, the conversation this time to me wasn't not as much stood out, at least. Like, I wrote down those comments, but not as much stood out because everyone was kind of saying things that kind of landed where we by now know, where they stand.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been much interplay within camp yet for Jeff to stoke a fire of a conversation because it's just been a scramble. So if Jeff goes, well, what was it like today and stuff? It's like, well, we're all trying to get to know each other and form alliances. So that's all it was. There was no...
It was very thematic. It was like things were very fluid and there's 12 different perspectives and it was interesting.
To previous episodes, they still haven't stood up and scrambled yet, right? Like, they're not doing the like whisper in each other's ears, stand up, walk around, like, oh, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Like, if a look goes awry or something.
And only that one with the rocks, throwing the rocks. Yeah.
But they were doing it out loud, weren't they?
Yeah, no, they didn't whisper.
That's when they were talking out loud. They weren't whispering. It's almost like they couldn't leave their stump. So I'm wondering if that's like a new thing.
Whisper to Daniel.
No, but Greg's saying they're not getting up and doing a mass whisper.
I mean,
right.
We're talking like stand up, like back up, like go to different places. Hey, we're talking this. It's like a middle school cafeteria in the last seasons where it's just like and like then like people are like swapping between groups and then there's like one. It's interesting that they haven't had that happen, and I'm wondering if like maybe it's like a thing, but. One thing that I did like, and it's just me being a fan of the show, is Jeff was talking about his journey of going from Wichita to Seattle. And I just love getting like a little bit of insight from Jeff because, he talked about this new persona he could take on. And I think for a lot of people, moving is a big opportunity or a new group of people is a huge opportunity. And that was just cool because a lot of times, Jeff has like 8 canned lines this show, and then he has some great questions during the tribal, but then that's about it. So
I think this tribal we need to just give Jeff the week off because it's just not next week he'll have stuff to talk about because there will start to be drama within the camp and he'll stoke the flames and get them talking and stuff. But this was it was such a mad dash to try to make alliances. That's really all it was. And half the people still don't know each other yet. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, you weren't in the original alliance I was going to hook up with, so I don't need to get to know you, Romeo.
Right.
So yeah, so the vote happens.
The vote.
And
there are
High
votes
says
thrown.
lies will be revealed tonight.
Yeah, there's votes thrown at a few people. Jonathan gets some votes. Lydia gets some votes. Marianne.
Lindsay. Lynze.
Right. Someone can't spell.
Roxroy.
Yeah, no one plays their shot in the dark. It's been a couple episodes since we've seen a shot in the dark.
They close-upped on the bag too, and no one touched it.
Yeah, I thought that was like weird that every single person felt confident enough not to pull that.
Wild.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Lydia got her
the axe.
Yeah. I was trying to put it in the Survivor parlance.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Her
she got
flame
6
extinguished.
votes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was a blindside. She didn't see it coming. And then my favorite part of the past couple episodes has been the very last segment where you see who's voted for who, because it's blown my mind both times. And I could not believe that almost everybody in the 8-person alliance voted for Lydia, including
Rebecca, great point. I knew Natalie was getting that too, because her and I, Natalie and I, again, I tell you guys this every week, but we try not to say too much to each other watching it, so we can share here live with you guys our thoughts. But Natalie and I both went, what? Like, he voted for her? He was willing to go to rocks for her just an episode ago or two, and now that was wild.
So I was thinking about it for the past 24 hours since I watched it, and because originally I was like, wow, he really just threw her under the bus. But from his perspective, they're in this 8 alliance, whatever, they've got Jonathan's back, and then she's going against Jonathan. So to he's maybe thinking that's a backstab on him. Or, how people, when they're super close with one person, people are gunning for one of those 2 people because they're like, we got to break them up. They're too close. So maybe he was thinking, I got to shoot her first before they gun for me because, it's a 50-50 chance. So I don't know what he was thinking. I was just super shocked because earlier in the episode, he was even talking about how relationships are everything and trust is everything in the game.
Well, and Survivor did a great job of making sure those lines were in there because they knew by the end of this, we need you guys to have your minds blown when he votes for her.
Yeah.
I think part of it too was his offer to show his allegiance to the alliance and was like, guys, okay, let's all go. We do have to sacrifice someone. Unfortunately, all is fair in love and war. We were going to get Tori. Okay, let's do Lindsay. I'll vote with you guys and let's do this.
Yeah.
Can we make sure that this conversation on the chat is just fantastic? Can we make sure that everyone's subscribed so that we can continue this next week? Because it's so awesome to see people chiming in. Thank you, Rebecca Lynn. And then there's Night Angel. You had asked about the idol. I don't believe an idol's been played yet.
No.
But
no one's
been
kicked out with an idol. No one's been kicked out with an idol as well. So those
good point.
The idols are all still present and haven't been activated yet.
How dumb is Marianne that, she could have been sent home last night. She would have been sitting on an idol. Like, we just don't see her playing any like strong moves, making strong alliances, having strategic conversations. Like, how solid was she that her name wouldn't be written down? And then it was written down twice that we saw. Like,
twice. And then she had in the booth was like, this is the biggest risk I've ever made in my entire life.
And then did
knowing
she write
her
down?
Volume, that she voted for Lydia.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Norma.
That's right, because she's one of the yeah.
Norma, is he your meat shield?
So
how about those knees, huh?
Yeah, flush the idol out, Rebecca Lynn. Yes, they should have made Marianne feel a little uncertain at least. And then she would have used her idol.
People were commenting on her graphics earlier, and I have to agree. I really think that they added a nice little touch, especially anytime we can bring those knees up, huh?
I still forgot. I have a full Jeff Probst photo. We don't use it often enough.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Look at him.
At the man himself.
Yeah. Waiting to
That's
start
our idol
shit.
right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this. They were all so sweet and innocent when this first started.
Oh my gosh. And a lot heavier.
I was gonna say 10 pounds thicker each.
They
and now
do.
They
all look like
rice weight.
plump, they look a little bit more filled in.
It is funny, like when they used to do the final episode, they would shoot later, and so everyone would be like emaciated on the final episode. Then they go, all right, now let's see the tribal council, and everyone's normal, but compared to how they looked, you're like, oh my god, everyone put on 900 pounds, but it's really they were just back to normal weight, but they weren't.
I read articles about people, past contestants, and that it really messes with their head. They have like some food issues for a while after, because their scarcity effect is so strong. Like even though it's just 30 something days for most people.
Yeah, I heard like their families eating out of a dumpster and stuff like raccoons, and or their family has to put the food up in a tree so they can't get to it.
Yeah,
like
they like hoard it all into their bed. It's like under the mattress, and there's just like ham hocks sticking out.
Yeah,
there's
their
like
bed smells like pickles.
Yeah.
So good question, Rebecca Lynn. Did Lydia make the jury? No, she did not.
So no,
she just missed the cut because they haven't. I guess they haven't officially merged yet, which is,
they have now.
They have now.
He threw the buffs to them at the end of the thing, and they cheered. And
going forward, everybody now becomes the jury. Like
right. Yeah. But I'm going to miss Lydia. She was a good presence. I liked her energy. She had like fun conversation.
No.
She seemed like a strong player. You guys are not going to miss Lydia?
Not at all.
What energy? This was her energy.
Yeah.
No, she was like pretty vivacious, I thought.
What are you talking? Are you thinking of Marianne? Maybe. What are you talking? No. She was the most monotone.
Lydia was the one that on the first episode was like, "Ew, there's sand everywhere," and I'm like,
"I know
nope.
You bring that up every episode
because it dead to me.
Yeah. Dead.
It's like
I warmed to her. I was more impressed with her the later episodes.
The idol is Kelly Clarkson. No,
that's the American Idol.
The idol is in normally the idol. If someone plays it, they could. Jeff has said when he goes to do the votes, before I read, does anybody want to play their idol?
Does anybody have an advantage?
Does it? Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess now
it's advantage.
He used to say, does anyone have an idol? Because that was the only advantage available. But if they play the idol, that suddenly means any vote cast against them in that bucket is nullified and they can't be voted out.
Right.
So it can be. And the interesting thing is, like, if Greg and I are on the show and I have the idol and Greg's my buddy and he's about to get voted out, I could toss him the idol and he could play the idol.
So you could like attract all the votes to me, and then basically my vote or our vote would then knock out 2 votes could knock out 1 person then, even if like 10 people voted against them.
Yeah. And that's people have done that, right? Haven't they done that in the past?
Yeah. That's why they oftentimes split the votes. That's what happened last time too, is they'll just throw a couple extra votes at someone else just to make sure that they're covered, especially when they have the numbers so handily. But you got to be careful because. By
the way, I'm posting Norma's quotes. I've never loved Norma more than.
Thank you. Yes, day one. That they should have. A producer should have walked into the frame of that first interview and been like, "Honey, this way," and then like on a boat,
just walked off.
But she was Jeff Probst's, teacher's pet, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I wrote a note about that. Lydia faked a lot of confidence, and I don't remember why, but I remember there was a moment in this episode where it felt like she like brought up the fact that she like kind of knew Jeff and fell into it that way. I wish it would have.
Oh, no. Remember, guys, didn't she say she met him at a bar and convinced him to let her on or something. Wasn't that her story?
No, Greg told us that.
I said that recently, but there was a moment when like it was referenced in the show. I might have to go back and watch it and see if I can feel it out again. But yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling that Jeff was.
I think she alluded to a pregnancy as well, which was odd. That what I mean. Don't bring that up. Like
starting rumors now.
That's your guys' business. And she said something about like prenups are distasteful, and it was a weird exchange between her and Jeff. Gosh. No, but yeah. So that's it. Lydia's gone, and guys, that brings us to probably my favorite part of the show.
Yes,
our tribal council.
Our tribal.
Yes. Now, for those who don't know, who haven't been there before. Everyone in the audience and us here, we're going to vote. So you guys have the opportunity to vote. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't find my Sharpie right now. I'm going to have to use a normal pen like a heathen.
Prepared.
Not this guy. Not this guy.
Oh.
We're about to unplug and
we're going to lose Greg for the rest of the show.
Yeah, this is my weekly hit of Sharpie.
So people are all of our friends watching live right now. If you're in the replay crew, throw in the comment and in the comments anybody you want to vote for. You're gonna cast off. People in the comments that are live right now, you guys can start voting. Remember, it's not someone on the show. No. It's someone live here right now. Either us on camera or anybody in the
chat.
In the chat. So I know who I'm voting for. So I'm taking this person out. So, oh my gosh, my pen's not working. Oh, here we go. Here,
my pen's working.
Oh, I'm supposed to be doing the. Survivor music.
I'm on camera.
Okay, so has everyone voted for?
I love Eliza.
Okay, let's look at.
I wish I had done that. The giant beetle at tribal.
Oh my god, that's a good one. Although that they're not here live unless the beetle is in the chat room. So
that's a good point.
Let's see. Oh my gosh. Hey, Tess is here. My fellow Sean member.
Welcome, Tess.
Okay, anybody in the chat? We're not seeing anybody voting yet, so we'll start over here with our votes. Greg.
Oh my gosh! First up, so this vote goes out to someone that has really stepped their game up and got lots of great comments from the community here. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this. I'm voting you out as an honor to you for taking such quality notes and keeping us true. Aaron D.
What?
Yep.
One vote for Aaron D. Ooh, Natalie did not like that.
No,
Honey,
I didn't.
Who are you voting for?
And I have all these reasons. Now I have a new reason.
Oh my gosh.
This is for your comment about Roxroy making fun of his blindness.
I didn't mean to.
And then you're voting out my girl Erin D. So you had to go.
Well, and your girl, who was the other one? Rebecca Lynn was on your side. You have like a whole fan club here.
You know,
y'all are just going to team up on me.
I'm building a strong alliance in the comments.
I guess. Are you having side channel conversations that Josh and I don't know about?
There's been a lot of firewood gathered. Let's just put it that way.
How dare you, Norma? How dare you? Can someone block Norma?
Yeah, I'll get on
it. All right, so here's my vote. You guys didn't see this coming. We totally blindsided you. Greg and I have a strong alliance. She's too smart. She's making us look dumb out there. So she's too dangerous. She's way too dangerous. Yes. Aaron, I'm taking you out. We are taking out Aaron.
Aaron, I got you.
She's too smart.
Oh my gosh. She is.
Yeah. Her comments.
Look at that.
Her comments were too good tonight. And yeah, I will not stand for it. I will not be made to look like an idiot on my own show. Aaron.
Cumulative votes, though, Greg is still going home.
Yeah, I have like
I don't know though, because now I'm getting
now Josh is getting a lot of
a
lot of flames thrown at Josh.
Where's Aaron's commenting? Look at how sad Aaron is walking away with her. We should probably throw Aaron into her confessional at the end where she could trash us. Hold on, I gotta turn off the fire here. Here's Aaron's little flame. That's going to get snuffed out.
Well, next week on Survivor, I hope you're all here again. That was a lot of fun.
That was, this was awesome. Super long episode to go through, but I feel like, we moved at a pretty good clip for all the stuff we had to cover. And thank you guys so much for, first of all, thanks for showing up. Spending time with us is awesome, but you guys contribute so much. Next week, are you guys up for us trying? I've never run this part, but having callers. Would you guys like to have some callers? Should we try it?
Yeah. Put a hand up in the chat if you'd be interested in that.
And then just people in chat, because I don't want to do it and then all of a sudden we have like no one call in. Would you guys call in if we took callers next week?
Sweet.
Yay.
Norma's in. Norma even used her Jonathan idol. She figured out what an idol was and used it this episode.
Aaron,
that fast.
I feel like, Aaron, I feel like you need to call in because we gave you so much crap for being so smart. You definitely
have good strategic insights.
Yeah, and everybody is calling in. So yeah, maybe too. You're gonna have to tell us on the call who you're voting off to. I think that'll be more fun to hear you guys cast your votes.
And bring your friends, because if you say the wrong thing, I'll be voting you out of here.
You know what, Aaron? Let me figure it out. I think I got to see how many people I can have at once. But yeah, I could throw Norma on with you. I know Norma's a good luck charm, so she'll come on with you. But yeah, I would love to have you guys participating. Bailey will be back, so we're gonna have to have a wedding section in there. So you guys can
be a party.
Yeah, we have so much to cover next week. I wanted to try callers this week, but I was like, it's gonna be tough because we already have a 2-hour show we got to go through.
Right.
Yeah, we need a panel, definitely. So let's try it next week, guys. Bear with me as I figure out the technology and kind of play with it. But I think we can do it, and I think it would be so much fun. Yeah, Aaron, we definitely miss Bailey. She's awesome, and she's hopefully having an amazing time. She posted this let me see if I can pull it up, guys. I'll give you a sneak peek if this works. It just doesn't always look good on the camera. Yeah, but
and for the people that are watching this in what's it called afterwards, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate you watching through the whole thing and being a part of our process as we build this thing out. If you have ideas for how we can make the show better, comments that or things to maybe keep doing, let us know, because we're ready to have more fun and really enjoying the process.
Absolutely. And just so you guys can see, this is so cool. Bailey wrote, "We just swam here," and that
looks like Survivor right there.
Yeah.
So she's out having a Survivor adventure, and they swam in that. That is freaking amazing. So
you think she found any idols?
She's looking, I'm sure. So
she's on her honeymoon.
Yeah. Can totally leave that there. Not gonna say anything else. As a matter of fact, thanks everybody. Great show. Talk to you next week. Roll credits. Bye-bye.